right, we're back down here in the Chiefs pit. Richie Petty, Mark Petty, Timmy Petty, going over some racing stories from the Petty family. This one here is going to take you back to 1985 when Maurice Petty was running the #1 Ford with Dick Brooks at Daytona. Timmy was part of the pit crew, part of the...
I guess I would have been the equivalent of a car chief.
You was the car chief, yes, exactly.
But I mean, that term really wasn't around.
No,
then.
just,
Little backstory: where the one car come from? Everybody knows we're Maurice's sons. When in 1983, Richard decided he was going to join Mike Curb Racing, and Kyle took over Petty Enterprises with the 711 Ford
spot.
for 84.
for 84, and at the end of 84 is when we all know Kyle went over to the Wood Brothers.
Right.
So the cars that were left over from 84, Dad was the only one left, him and Grandfather.
Wanted to keep Petty Enterprises
And
rolling.
wanted to roll Petty Enterprises on.
I was there.
Exactly. But that's the backstory of where the #1 come from. It ended up being a leftover car from the 84 season.
And there were still several of the old-time employees still here.
Absolutely.
So-
And again, Dad was just trying to keep the thing going.
Keep it going.
And
was probably fairly close for the long term, anyway.
So
But
anyway, they
yeah.
they didn't have a driver. Had a car, had the team. Went to Daytona in December to test. Well, Raymond Beadle and
Tim
Richmond were there, and then they was buddies with Daddy. Well, Richmond decided that he would do Daddy a favor and test the car. Well, they went out there and they was running laps 205, 206. And Richmond was like, "Man, I wished I was in this car, but I'm hooked up with Beetle here." So anyway, that kind of all the drivers were signed up at this time because it was too late to really get anything going.
Right.
And then he hooked up with Dick Brooks, and that led into February.
So I'm trying to remember the truck outfit, the Salem Leeson. We didn't have a tractor. We had the trailer, right?
We still had the old, all the equipment left over from Kyle was still here.
or from the 84 season.
The
yeah.
84 season.
But we didn't have no tractor,
Right.
a big truck to get it down there. It was all just basically thrown together and kind of a last-ditch effort to keep Petty Enterprises
Took
going.
the same car, same motors that Kyle had been
Yes.
running in 84.
Yes. And one of the things that kind of, I guess we qualified, fifth?
Fifth fastest, yes.
Fifth.
What was 5 cars that broke 200 mile an hour?
And this was one
Yes.
of them.
And that was one of them.
Yeah. And
First Petty car to ever break 200 mile an
In
hour
a
in
qualification,
qualifying.
yeah. Because
I
I
think.
think Bill Elliott was on the pole he was probably about 205.
Well, that was your Bill Elliott spanked everybody, right?
Yes, yes. That was, he
the
come
whole
out of
time.
nowhere and put everybody on their heels.
Yep. That's yeah.
But anyway, this car, I think the official qualification speed was 201.
Yeah, well, I'm sure somebody will look it up
Right.
and correct us.
Yeah.
but that'd be great.
I'm pretty sure
We welcome.
I'm pretty sure Elliott was
Sure.
205 and probably Kale was outside pole, I believe. Neil Bonnet
AJ was up there too, right?
Neil Bonnet,
But one
he
of the
was quick
issues
too
we
in the
had-
75.
we didn't have
Yeah,
a
Neil
lot
Bonnet
of.
and Raymond.
No, he wasn't a 75.
No?
The 75 was, but I think it was Neil
Lake
Bonnet.
Speed. Lake
Yeah,
Speed.
but Neil Bonnet was quick in the 12.
Yep. But Lake Speed
Two
drove 75
Budweiser
that year.
cars. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But one of the issues we had, we were using a couple-year-old equipment for the Ford stuff, and it was all serviced, obviously, just like we always would. But I remember during the pit stops, kind of fast forward here, I don't know if we ever fell out of the top 10 until we had troubles. Remember,
It was-
we were kind of a
Yeah, I
factor.
don't know, man. I'd have
Yeah,
to
I
look
don't
back
think
at it.
you. I mean, you was never going.
I mean, I think it was running respectable, but
Yeah.
yeah, nobody
yeah.
was going to beat Bill Elliott that day. No
Well,
matter what.
He'd finally they're coming to the end of the race because a lot of people was having trouble. And but anyway, he was running in the top 5, looking good because there's like 30 to go.
And one of the pit stops, we come in. I was on the right front, and as I was putting the tire back on, maybe taking it off. Anyway, part of the stud come off, so I scooped it up.
These are the studs that come off that
The
car.
wheel studs,
Yeah, and they broke.
Obviously, they had a hardness problem. We didn't know about it, so I walked over and Daddy's the crew chief, and I was like, "Hey man, we got a problem." And he's like, "Oh, don't say that. Is the other one's tight?" And I'm like, "Yes, sir, yes, sir." And you know how it was,
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to answer to the chief, And
Especially then.
anyway, the next stop, I don't remember exactly how many stops we had, but it wasn't many. You know, Daytona 500.
Mhm.
But next time we come in there, and I mean, I was about to cry. It was that intense. And I come back over there, and I was like,
Busted another one.
and I handed him the other one. I was like, you know, the other part to it. I was like,
It ain't good.
he said, I said, you know, and I knew the way it was like that, and sure enough, he goes out there, and it was.
Well, that was been what it was setting up. That would have been the last pit stop of the race.
I'm pretty
correct?
sure it
Oh, it
was.
was, and it was
Yep.
looking good because it was 30 to go. And then
So you was
Probably going to have a top five.
So he's
finish.
running with 3 tight lug nuts at the.
Yes, and it got to quivering. And
And well, yeah, what happens there when you're running that kind of speed? The vibrations, just a little bitty vibration, turns into a big mess, and that's what happened here. The wheel started moving, and then it's probably broke the next one, and then broke the next one, and it put him in the wall coming off of 2. He just slammed.
but it
the
was
wall.
a sinking feeling on that
Oh,
second
yeah.
one. You know, it's like, oh no, you know,
Oh, yeah.
our day was done. But yeah, like I said, and moving forward, we went. Where else we go? Atlanta.
Went to Atlanta and Rockingham.
Struggled at Atlanta, and then after Atlanta, you
Went to Rockingham.
we
with
got
Morgan Shepherd, right? Did Morgan drive at Rockingham or
Darlington.
Dick
He
Brooks?
did it at Darlington.
Okay.
Brooks was at Daytona, Atlanta, and Rockingham.
So Rockingham was before Atlanta.
Well, whichever one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Atlanta was the last race with Brooks, and then
Went to Darlington.
and Morgan came on, and then Daddy, he got hooked up with that Shackelford out of Kinston to do some consultant work and working on alternators and stuff, and you know it was a good deal. So he just kind of backed out. We were looking forward to going to Talladega, and everything was set up to go, but this guy offered Daddy a pretty good position, so he just kind of backed out of it, and that was
Well, and I
it.
think he was tired of spending money.
No,
out of his own
no.
pocket.
He was. No,
mean, he was
that's
spending-
what I'm saying. He had a better opportunity.
I mean, he spent his life savings trying to keep that deal going.
Yes, he did, and then kept it going up until May there. And
Well, and that helped out because he kept it going just long enough, and then, you know, the following season, Richard come back in '86, and the rest is history.
Right.
So he did his part of
they
that one
were
little
back. They
that
were
one
back
little
in,
stint
kept it going long.
kept it
good.
long enough. Then Richard was able to come back and make good of it up to this day.
Yep, that's right. So anyway, what could have been?
That's our story, and we're sticking to it.
We